Live in high definition, you're watching Game Night.
Well, good evening to you. I'm Brian Sanders. Welcome to our Friday edition of Game Night and our last of the high school football season. Second round of the playoffs as the local teams venture out into other markets. These scores are hot off the press. Let's start with four-time defending state champion Lake Travis. Big School 4A bracket at the Alamo Dome against a tough Smithson Valley team. Rangers actually on the board first, but here come the Cavaliers. Baker Mayfield, Zach Austin. He's pushed out just before the goal line. Colin Lagasse would finish off the drive in what was the start of another big offensive day. Lake Travis wins handily 42-21. They will play Flower Bluff in the third round next week. In that same bracket, Cedar Park and Hayes, our only matchup of two Austin area teams meeting at the Burger Center. That's where we find Roger Wallace calling the game for KBVO. Kind of a blowout, Roger.
Yeah, good evening, Brian. On paper, it looked like it might be a good game. Cedar Park, we know how good they are, and Hayes really putting things together with 5 straight wins to close out the season, including a win over Smithson Valley, at the time ranked #2 in the state. But different story tonight here at Burger Stadium. Brian Hogan just too much for Hayes. Hogan keeping it right here, just darts it right up the middle. First possession for Cedar Park, and that running game is rolling. They run for over 320 yards a game. Sophomore Thomas Middleton, second possession, touchdown, and it's 14-0. They add a third score to close out the second half. First drive, and Hogan does it again. 4 rushing touchdowns for Brian Hogan, along with a passing touchdown, and Cedar Park rolls 42-0. So they are on to the third round of the playoffs, and they will take on Weslaco East. Weslaco East, a winner over Victoria East tonight, so Cedar Park and Weslaco East will meet next weekend in the third round of the 4A Division I Region 4 playoffs. That's the story from Burger Stadium. Brian, I'm sure a lot of Cedar Park fans will want to tune in tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on KBVO. Back to you.
Thanks, Roger. And more importantly for the Timberwolves, Brian Hogan is healthy. Keeping it in Big School 4A, but moving to Region 2, Hendrickson heading north to Waco to face John Tyler at Midway Stadium, and the Hawks in a shootout tonight, taking the lead early. Dajay Johnson, nice run down the sideline, diving across the pylon for the score. 14-7, but Tyler had an answer every time, so tied again at 14. Johnson again, 2 yards out, rumbles in for the lead again. That's when Tyler hooks up with the big hitter, Greg Ward, with all he's got to DeQuantre Woods, and Tyler has assumed the lead late, 56-42, that one in the fourth quarter. 4A Division II, Dripping Springs and Alamo Heights at Leanders Monroe Stadium, locked in a defensive tug-of-war. Matthew Wiley notches a 40-yard field goal in the first quarter for the Tigers to make it 3-0, but it stayed that way for a while. Marlon O'Neill able to wrap up Dub Yarborough thanks to great coverage downfield and keep the Mules off the board. And then again, late in the half, Yarborough unable to hit Kobe Bailey on the pitch, and the ball is recovered by Zach Foreman for the Tigers. 3-0 Dripping at half. They take it into overtime, tied at 3. Dripping Springs scores a touchdown in overtime, and they hold off Alamo Heights to win it. 10-3, the final. Dripping Springs in overtime. Also in that small school 4A bracket, Vandergrift facing Kerrville-Tivy at Rutledge Stadium, and Converse Vipers getting a hand on the Antlers punt. Elliott Bird scoops it up going the other way for Vandergrift, and they're able to throw the first punch. They would capitalize. Dakota Prukop on the keeper from close range. It was 7-0 Vipers, and the crowd starts to go wild there, but Tivy would fight back. Parks McNeil, their quarterback, nearly untouched around the end. Kerrville jumps in front 14-7, actually goes until the final play, and Vandergrift has the clock run out on them inside the 10-yard line. They fall 21-16 tonight. Heartbreak ending for the Vipers. Now to the small school 3A division and a battle of unbeatens between Wimberley and Gonzales. They're meeting in New Braunfels on that red turf at Canyon High School. First quarter, Brady Lambert scrambling, trying to buy some time, looking, finally finds Hunter Birchshell in the back of the end zone. It was 6-0 Texans. Gonzales goes back up 7-6, and then Wimberley goes to work again. Dennis Smith, a strong run up the middle, hauled down at the 1, and he would punch it in from there. 14-7 Texans. They get a stop and a shot on the last play of the half. Lambert to Brennan Blakemore, and he does the rest, dancing his way 65 yards for the score. Wimberley wins 40-14. Also in that small school 3A bracket at San Antonio's Ferris Stadium, unbeaten Divine and Liberty Hill. And it's the War Horses that draw first blood. Jordan Frega with the touchdown up the middle to make it 14-7. And then Liberty Hill's Brandon Korn able to counter up the middle, 37 yards. It was 14-14. Divine gets a touchdown from Joseph Sadler to make it 21-14, and they were able to hold off the Purple Thunder tonight, 21-20. Joseph Sadler still 7 points shy of the state's all-time scoring record set by Sugar Land's Kenneth Hall back in 1953.